Somewhere in South Africa right now, a business school professor is preparing a lecture on strategy. The frameworks are the familiar ones, the font has changed, and a few examples have been refreshed, but the substance describes a management world that existed years ago. And the executive sitting in that classroom is paying a premium to learn how to lead through AI transformation, regulatory upheaval, and workforce disruption, moving faster than any period in business history. The knowledge in the room does not match the problem they will face on Monday morning. This is not a new complaint. Warren Bennis and James O'Toole named it in the Harvard Business Review back in 2005. Business schools were hiring faculty with little real-world experience and graduating students unequipped for the actual work of management. That article is now 21 years old, and the problem has not been solved. It has been compounded. And in March 2026, UNESCO issued a blunt warning to business schools worldwide: reinvent or become irrelevant. The reason is specific, and it is structural. Tenure, promotion, and a school's global ranking depend almost entirely on publication in a small set of elite journals. A professor's career advancement bears no relationship to whether their students succeed. It bears a direct relationship to how many papers they publish. And peer review for those journals takes between 2 and 4 years. So a professor writing about corporate AI today, if their paper is accepted, will see it published in 2029 or 2030, describing a reality that has already been overtaken several times over. The cleanest way to describe this is not laziness. It is a principal agent problem. The faculty members' interests, tenure, research output, academic standing have quietly diverged from the interests of the student paying for the degree. The professor is rationally chasing what the system rewards. The student is paying for something the system was never designed to produce. Neither of them is behaving irrationally. The institution is simply misaligned. And the standard career path makes that misalignment structural. An undergraduate degree, then a master's, then a PhD, then straight into the classroom. Many business school faculty have never spent a sustained period inside a modern corporation, never navigated a regulatory audit with real consequences, never managed a workforce through an AI-driven restructuring, never sat in front of a board to explain why a deployment failed. They can explain the concept. Far fewer can tell you what happens when it meets a real organization under pressure. And the AI era makes that gap acute. AACSB's own figures tell the story. Only 12% of schools require AI training for their faculty. 64% of faculty have used generative AI in their teaching, but mostly as a side tool rather than a core part of the work. And nearly 45% of business schools lack the governance to turn their AI policies into practice. The demand from students and employers is clear. Faculty development is simply not keeping pace. Here is the part that should sharpen this conversation in South Africa. The Council on Higher Education already requires MBA faculty to maintain business links and to engage in real company projects. That requirement already exists in the accreditation framework for every South African business school. The architecture for a solution is already written down. It is simply not being enforced with the rigor that the paying student deserves. So what would enforcement actually look like? The most powerful reform available is a 50-50 model, faculty spending half their time embedded in live corporate environments and half translating that current consequential experience into what they teach. This is not radical. Law schools require practicing attorneys. Medical schools require clinical practice alongside teaching. The business of 2026 is at least as complex and at least as fast-moving. The faculty model should reflect that. So let me leave each of you with one question. For a governing council, this is a King 4 governance matter, not a staffing footnote. For a dean, it is the 50-50 model. And for the executive choosing a program, it is the due diligence question that most never ask. Who is teaching me? What have they built? What have they failed at? And when did they last hold real accountability for a business outcome? If you would like, I will come and put that question to your leadership team and help you turn it into a short list of changes worth making.